All right, so Silat for an hour on this wonderful Wednesday, July 8th, 2020. As always, we acknowledge all the different martial arts that influence us in every class, regardless of the curricular area in which we find ourselves. So right hand fist, left hand goes over it, Chinese. Right hand fist up to your forehead, left hand over your heart, not your stomach, your heart, Filipino. Thai is this very simple one. From this position, your left hand makes a table for your right hand, Indonesian. We're going to drop that and make a fist with our right hand, tap the left side of our chest, and go palm down to our right side. This is French and Dog Brothers. Japanese, we keep our eyes up and we just give a little bow like that. So tonight, sometimes I just enjoy working on the hardwood floors. I don't really feel like setting my mat up, if I'm being honest with you. So we're gonna focus a lot on our stand-up tonight. Okay, so Guyang 1. Let's review these 7. Guyang 1 is our attack T. Okay, so if we start neutral, we're coming in on center line and replacing. If you're touching your knee, it's a little bit more of an Indonesian flavor because it's stylized. You can, however, just step into it. It's still Guyang 1. Okay, so that's going to be our Guyang 1. Guyang 2, I'm going to come a little closer to the camera, is the same pattern, but we're retreating. So it's our defensive T or our retreating T. And this is going to be a really essential pattern for developing our stand-up game when we are the stand-up player fighting the ground-based player in the ground domain area of our Mafalindo. Because remember, again, we end up with 4 different modalities. Ground versus ground, you're both on the ground. Stand-up versus ground, you're the stand-up player fighting a ground-based player. Ground versus stand-up, you're the ground-based player fighting a stand-up player. And freelance, you switch elevations at will. Okay, so time. That's Guyang 2. Guyang 3, in FMA circles, it's going to be called the female triangle. So I'm standing at the point of the triangle, stepping out along the imaginary sides. I'm going to change that angle for you. Okay, and options on Guyang 3, so I can step out. My hands can stay even. My hands and my shoulders, frankly, whether I'm open, closed, fists, I'm about even. Okay, next option. I step out with the same side shoulder leading as the foot with which I stepped out. So left foot, left shoulder. You can drop this lead hand as long as your other hand is up. So you might play with Guyang 3 with the shoulder lean. Okay, another option. Try to lean in with the opposite side shoulder. Right foot, left shoulder. Left foot, right shoulder. These are all different possibilities. Especially Pencak Silat Sara. What has been taught, and I don't want to offend anybody because sometimes you might want to enter into a discussion. Is this history? Is it slightly been turned into mythology? Pak Sara, the founder of Pencak Silat Sara, was supposed to have one arm that didn't work and a clubbed foot on the opposite side of his body. And I don't know which was which, but it was either, right arm, left club foot, or left arm, non-operative, right club foot. And so very often, especially when Penchak Silat Surah is our base, you'll see like a one-handed kind of a moment or a focus, and that is influenced by Pak Surah. It's also in Silat thinking completely acceptable if one of your soldiers is on the high line and one is on the low line. In Silat, it's perfectly acceptable to drop a hand. So just be aware of that. So once again, though, Gayung 3, the only thing that's hard is how much choice you have. Based on your prior martial arts background, you might not want to drop a hand. You might be more of a, like your boxing influences you, and you want to keep this kind of rigid sort of boxing structure because that's what fits your body. Well, that's great. That sounds fine. Or you might want to play with that twist, right? Opposite side shoulder or same side shoulder. But within my curriculum, I don't have A, B, and C. I just teach you the different variables so that you're aware of them, and then you pick which one is going to fit you best. Got it? Okay, we have a little laundry operation going on. Good, fantastic. All right, so Gayung 4. We're gonna go into Gayung 4. I want you to imagine a diamond that is being bisected by a vertical line, and I'm standing at the far point of the diamond. So my right foot steps out to the other corner, and my left foot steps to the far corner, traces that bisecting line back, and then I'm going to switch. Step out to the side, step to the far corner, draw that foot back. Switch, step out to the side, out to the far corner, draw that foot back on the bisecting line. Side, far corner, draw it back. Side, far corner, draw that foot back. Foot replacement at the far corner at which you started. This is Gayung 4. Okay, which also, and I see I have a question in the chat. I'll get to it in 1 second, or a comment in the chat. This is also a good time to say there are 7 Gayungs, and if you don't get them all right now, you can always go back and review. Yes, absolutely. So good question from CBS. Could the lowered hand position be to guard your groin and lower body? Absolutely. And you'll hear that sort of idea in Silat very often, whether this hand is low to purposefully guard some of these vital targets. Just ran 2 miles, so this is great for my legs. Good. So move a little bit, and that's a great way. Can you do this with your back to us? Sure. Gayung 4. Okay. So let me make sure. Okay. So step out to the side. Step to the far corner. Slide back down to that bisecting line to where you started. Switch. Side. Out to the far corner. Slide down that bisecting line to where you started. So if I'm breaking it down for you, if I'm starting with my left foot to the side, right foot to the far corner, right foot slides back down, and now I'm ready to foot replace to switch. Right foot steps out to the side, left to the far corner, the left foot slides down that bisecting line, and I'm ready to switch. That's my guy on 4. Okay, so, all right, you're welcome. Yeah, absolutely. And anybody at any point, I mean, I know I talk a lot. You're welcome to unmute yourselves. Hey, Guru Bryan, I have a question. Can you stop talking for a minute of your life? And that's a fine way as well. So guy on 4 is the female triangle plus additional steps. I think that's a good way to approach it. So definitely that female triangle DH is how you're going to switch it. You're always starting, that is absolutely correct. The first movement is always going to be the first step of the female triangle. This is going to come to the far corner and slide back down, and then your point is a very good one. Here now I've switched on the female triangle. My right foot is ready to repeat that. So that, if that helps, that's excellent. That's a nice way to approach it, is you start with the female triangle, the other foot steps out and then slides back down that bisecting line, and then you switch sides on your female triangle. Slide, female triangle switch. Slide, female triangle switch. Slide, female triangle switch, and so on. All right. So very good. And so that is guy on 4. Guy on 5 is easier. Okay? That we're standing at the point and we step back. In FMA circles, this is our male triangle. Sometimes we'll hear, anytime you're moving away or you're retreating, we'll hear defensive. So this could be your defensive triangle, whereas guy on 3, your female, is your offensive, or your advancing, or, offensive, as I said, triangle. But I'm sorry, anyways, guy on 5, here. Okay. Once again, the same considerations in the upper body as guy on 3. So as I step back, I know my upper body is out of the frame. My hands can be even. In fact, that's so simple. Let me come back up to you here. Okay. So as I step back with my left foot and I'm in a momentary right lead, my hands could be even, right? I could maintain this kind of, my Silat shirt I'm wearing today is a good visual indicator. You have the logo right kind of where my sternum is, right? So one way of doing it is that I'm essentially full front on that line, hands open or hands closed, with my sternum, that sternum line sticking out. I could also change it to leading with the same side shoulder, right, as we talked about. And then I could change it to the opposite shoulder. So it's the same consideration. Yes, and then I love how this feels like it's for training a beset. You do, with that guy on 4, DH, to return to that, yes, you have that beset, Silhig kind of motion. Good. All right, so, but that's guy on 5. I'm trying to kind of make this all explicit for all of you and show you all connections between these. And again, and this is informational purposes only, and I'm qualifying it very carefully on purpose. The Mathilindo system is, again, this is from Guru Inosanto, Malaysian, Filipino, Indonesian, Mathilindo. It's what I like to call an application-based system. And what do I mean by that? Traditional Silat, if you came to me, and again, I really like traditional Silat, and I'm also a traditional Silat student and instructor as well. But Mathilindo is my base. So for example, a lot of times in traditional Silat, if you came to me, all right, Ivan, great. I'm glad you're here. If you're going to study under me, here is technique 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? And what I want you to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What I want you to do is do that in the air again and again and again and again. And depending on the instructor, after 3 months, if Ivan's like, well, you know, Guru, what is this for? Don't worry about it. Just do it. Practice it. That's kind of, I'm generalizing a little bit, but that's kind of the traditional Silat experience. Now, unfortunately, I don't have anybody in my household available to me today, but, you know, if you were in a left lead and you threw your jab, this is my split entry. I'm putting you in a straight armbar and ending up in front of you with you hunched over. This is my Beset Dalam. I'm kneeing your face while I go to get that far foot, and then I'm completing the sweep. And so the Mafalindo approach, we would learn, if we have it available, if we have another person available, we would learn the application first. And then we would kambongan it both for study and reverence purposes later. That's sort of how I approach things. Okay? So with this, very often in traditional Silat, you're gonna have and obviously I'm training right today on my hardwood floors. You know, they're gonna use electrical tape and set up the platform work. So like really comprehensive, complicated geometric shapes. And in Mafalindo, we tend, I haven't been doing this today, but real quickly, you know, like this is Guyong 1, right? And I mean, I could have that. It would be so much easier if I had that as electrical tape, because then I could actually stand on it. But this at least illustrates the point. Guyong 2 would be here, right? And then this is my retreating T, and so on. Guyong 3 here. I don't want to grab all the sticks to draw Guyong 4. Guyong 5 is here, but I'm standing at the front of it, right? I'm moving back here, okay? With traditional Silat, and this is really cool too, and please understand, I'm not being overly nice. I'm just kind of explaining our approach, but the other approaches are interesting too, and there's a lot to learn from them. In the traditional platform work, where they visually create the diagrams, they tend to put all the angles together. And like if you were in Penchak Silat Sarah, they would call that a lonka. And you would walk the whole diagram, for example, like as you did Juru 1, okay? And then there'd be another move, and you might be trying it on the other side, or you might be moving to Juru 2. Here, if we're being really honest, the Guyongs, so Guyong, G-U-Y-U-N-G, in Mafalindo is going to be a synonym for lonka. Excuse me. But I also readily admit the Guyongs in Mafalindo are very, very simple in comparison to that sort of traditional kind of platform diagram where all the angulation is related to one another. If you've ever been in a traditional Silat school and you've seen the shapes on the floor, you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, using this model, let's finish Guyong 6 and Guyong 7. So let me change this. Hopefully this is, I will finagle the angle, everybody. Don't worry. Oh, that's not too bad. Okay. So Guyong 6, do you see how I'm walking this shape? Okay, so I'm at the base. I'm at the far corner. I'm at the base again, right? I'm doing that foot replacement right here at the corner right here. This is that back line, that's the base. And then I can also, with Guyong 6, I can go the other way. But it works the same way. Foot replacement at the point. No matter, now I'm going to change directions. Okay, so I'm going, this kind of feels like I'm going to my left. If I change, this kind of feels like I'm going to my right. Okay, point, corner, base, other corner, back to the point. If I change directions, it works the same way. I'm at the point, corner, my feet are making the base in this frozen moment, corner to switch to the far corner for that foot replacement. And I'm just keeping my hands up as I do this. Kind of relaxed because the focus is on the footwork right now. Okay, change directions. All right, that's Guyong 6. Guyong 7 was modified many, many years ago because, let's see, this is my 17th year in Silat and my 16th year in Mafalindo. If I'm being really honest with you, the original Guyong 7, yes, feet, I'm sorry, DH, I just saw your question. Feet must come together at the top. That is correct. So within this visualization, your feet are, I can't step on these because they have dimension, but my feet are coming together here. That's exactly right, right? So that's maybe a little too low. Right, so I'm at the base right now. Now I'm at that point. That point currently represented by the sticks is a little bit cut off by where the shot is, but yes. And now see, I'm stepping back, corner, corner, base, corner, back to that top, what you called the top, which is correct. That's where that foot replacement is taking place. That's your Guyong 6, okay? So once again, Guyong 7 has been modified because in all my time in Mafalindo, I've only seen one person do the original really, really well. That's Guru Suzanne Spizano, who has a really excellent series, DVD series. I know some maybe younger people are like, what's that word? But they're still available. I don't know that they're available at the Inosanto Academy as downloads, but they're still available on DVD. I highly recommend them. Guru Suzy is really the only person that I've ever seen do the original Guyong 7 well. So for us mortals, Guru Inosanto changed it to this. And since everybody took the time to be here, not that the other classes aren't important, but especially since we have an extra 15 minutes, let's actually make this shit. And you know what? Here, I'm going to illustrate this differently here. Okay. All right. So the Guyong 7 is 2 triangles point to point. And they're going to be lateral triangles. So I'm actually going to be moving on the lines where I've used live sticks. And maybe, so that explanation stands. Here, let me do this for you. Okay, and again, not as good as like in my last academy in Southern California where we actually taped all these and you could step on it and use the tape as guidelines, but still at least better than nothing to illustrate the point here. Okay, so I'm gonna move to the side because Family Martial Arts Academy is currently housed in my living room and it's not enough space. So right now, my left foot is at the intersection of those points. My right foot is gonna do 3 or 4 lateral triangles along this line, this live stick, right? So if I start neutral, 1, 2, 3. 3 or 4, or if you stop counting and you do 5 or 6, your mind wanders, it's not the end of the world. Now I need to switch. So I just switched down this line, and now my right foot is fixed at the point. I'm currently in a right lead, my left leg is back. I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, you know what, I'm gonna do 4. And this time I'm gonna switch with a male triangle, or Guyong 5. 1, 2, 3 lateral triangles. This time I'm gonna switch with the female triangle, or Guyong 3. 1, 2, 3, you know, I'm gonna do 4, heck with it, I'm gonna do 5. Now I'm gonna switch up this line, there. 1, 2, 3, and now I'm gonna switch up this line. 1, 2, 3, so that's all it is. You're doing lateral triangles, 3 or 4 of them, or 5 or 6, because in the moment sometimes you're just doing quick reps, and then I switch. Okay, so now that I've illustrated that, let me actually kind of express it with adequate space. Okay, so my left foot is fixed. 1, 2, 3 lateral triangles. I'm going to switch with the female triangle. 1, 2, 3. That was 3 lateral triangles with my left foot. My right foot was fixed. Now I'm going to switch forward on that diagonal line. 1, 2, 3. This time I'm going to do 4. And I'm going to switch back down that diagonal line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. You had a carpet with it printed on it. That's pretty neat. Yeah, that'd be a good way to go too, because then you're on light carpeting, which is excellent. You can certainly, if you have mats, you can certainly tape this up on your mat sometime. That's not a bad way to go. But the diagrams on any kind of a surface are really just there, excuse me, to help you learn it, okay? So this is what I'm gonna do for everybody. Because let me say this again. The only hard part about Guyong 7 is how much freedom you have. So I'm gonna standardize something for you, okay? So if you were to do this, so you start neutral, hands up, right foot in, 1, back, 2, in, 3, switch with a female triangle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch with a female triangle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Female triangle. 1, 2, 3, 4. You could only do 2 if you really wanted to. It would be fine, right? 1, 2, switch. 1, 2, switch. But that's simple. That right there, you're doing Guyong 7 if you were just to stick with that. Rather than getting all wrapped up in all the options. Okay, but again, this video is being recorded. This video will be uploaded to my YouTube channel. You can pause it, draw it, tape it, move the cursor back and rewatch it as many times as you care to look at these. These are supposed to give you guidelines for lower body movement. I hear very often Lonka. I told you Lonka is going to be a synonym of Guyong, and maybe Guyong is a simplified Lonka. Guyong is going to be like a form, or I know for some people this is a 4-letter dirty word, a kata for the lower body. Okay, so in Pencak Silat Sara, again, it's a traditional Silat system that's had a lot of influence on the Inosanto lineage. As a whole, the upper body forms, and I've told you this before, for those of you who train with me long term, these have changed. In 2017, we started doing them in this side-facing stance, but like if you look at Juru 1 is a form for your upper body. And Juru 1 it's a set movement. And what I've told all of you before, we used to do this. I did this for most of the year, 13 years or whatever it was. We're kind of in the similar cat stance that we use for the salutation. And we would do, I can't even do it anymore, not well. We would do our jurus here. And then 2017, I did a multi-day seminar with Mahaguru Stephen Plink, top student of the late Pendekar Paul de Tours. And Mahaguru Steve had adapted this side-facing structure. And we spent whatever that camp was, like 20-something hours plus, doing our jurus like this, and I can't do them the way that I used to do them. But the reason I'm showing you that is Juru 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are the movements. You've got to do it that way. Like I teach Wing Chun in my organization. The forms are the forms. You can't make the forms up. And so I'm doing Wing Chun movements. This is my Silam Tao. No, it's not. You can't do that. Like the form is the form. Okay. So in Pencak Silat Sara, that's the way it goes. Like the form is the form. You got to learn it. And, Juru 2, that's how we started practicing it. And then all the odd, there's 18 of them. I don't know all of them, if I'm being honest and transparent. All of the odd number jurus start with Juru 1, and all of the even number jurus start with Juru 2. But the form is the form is the form, okay? Which brings us now to Silat Sunda Bahun. All right, so Silat Sunda Bahun is, and I'm not being rude, I saw something on social media recently that my instructor might have moved to Georgia, but, and I'm trying to confirm if that's true. He hasn't messaged me back yet. But for about the past year before the pandemic, it's a man named Guru Tharyana Sestangara out of Inwood in Manhattan. And Inwood is the northernmost neighborhood on the island of Manhattan. You can see the river, and across the river is the Bronx. And for about a year prior to the pandemic, I'd been training with Guru Yana. he teaches, that's what we call, make it a little more manageable, Guru Yana. And Guru Yana teaches Silat Sunda Bahun. So from the village of Sunda in Indonesia, and very much a traditional Silat system. And I want to kind of explore this with you right now to show you the difference with the Silat Sunda Bahun versus, yeah, Yana's a good guy. And I just sent him a message earlier today. Yeah, Western Java, excellent. Because I saw on social media he moved to Atlanta, and I'm just trying to confirm if that is true or not, or he's pulling our legs. But so what I'd like to do is show you the jurus, okay? So juru satu is going to be the first one, and you're welcome to play with this either seated or standing. Right now, I'm going to do it standing because I don't have any mats, and again, just being on the hardwood floor seems really comfortable right now. So this position, no contact here, but this hand position for both hands is the foundation of Juru Satu, okay? And what you want to play with is this rotation, maintaining this space. You don't want contact here. You want to maintain that space. And then play with switching, right? So I do a few rotations here. I do a few rotations here. Always full extension. This is the shape, because the hands are, the jurus are all about the shape of the hands, okay? And then, however many rotations, always the back of the hand facing outward, okay? Then you have some basic offense with this structure. I'm going to show them to you, and because I'm showing you 5 variables in a row, I'm going to count them. But it's not in order of importance. I'm showing you 5 things. We're going to make it linear. Okay, so you're here. 1, this is just straight, you're just thrusting that. 2, this vertical rising elbow. 3, this kind of outward elbow. 4, this inward elbow. 5, down. Okay, so switch. Try it on your other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Does everybody see that's inward? This direction. 4, 5, down. Right? So thrust, rising vertical elbow, outward elbow, inward elbow, downward elbow. And remember again, everybody, this isn't necessarily technique 1. This isn't necessarily technique 2. They're not in order. They're not in order of importance. I've got 5 things. I can't do them all simultaneously. I'm showing them to you in a linear order only so you can get a handle on kind of learning them. That's not the order, and that's certainly not the order of importance. We just have 5 movements there. That way you can count them. Even if you went out of order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5. I got them all. Okay? So that's why I'm saying it's not necessarily order of importance. It's just there's 5 things, and we're trying to learn them. Okay, so why did I show that to you? If this is Juru 1, and you have to do those movements, and that's the way that Juru or Jurus operate in Pencak Silat Sora, Silat Sunda Bahun is going to be a freelance. So you can literally just mix. There's no pressure to do all of them. You're just flowing. You have a template for movement. You could stay on one side and do multiple reps, in between rotations. If you don't know what to do, just keep rotating. If your brain's like, oh, what should I do next? Just keep moving that and keep changing sides. But what you're trying to do here is get a template for perpetual movement that you gradually become more confident in. All right. So, I've been saying a lot lately, and I've been writing a lot lately. It's really important, anybody who works with me, no matter your level of experience, I am not the person with the teacher's edition with the answers in the back of the book. I don't have the answers. That's not really a thing. What I'm trying to do is give you multiple pathways to a system of movement so that gradually you start expressing yourself with these basics, and gradually you start chipping away at that imposter syndrome inside your brain telling you, well, this can't be right. Right? It's surely I'm not graceful enough, or this can't be, okay? Let all that go. Because the first time I saw Silat in the early 2000s, well, thank you. I appreciate that, DH. The first time I saw Silat in the early 2000s, and I was in my mid-20s, I was like, I'm never going to be able to do that. That's crazy. All right. And no, you got to let all that go. You just let it go and work the material and gradually find your way and kind of free yourself from those thoughts. Okay. So with the 15 minutes, and Wendy, I saw you just came on. Hopefully you saw we're on a slightly different schedule tonight. We'll go into Filipino martial arts at 6. We're going to stick with this for another 15 minutes. And then FMA will be 6 to 7. And if anybody's on here and you got to bail out at any point, excellent. Don't worry about it. It's all, I'm just happy to have you here for however long I have you. So it's all good. Lately I finished up my Silat curriculum. I actually got it all on video for my online martial arts learning community. And we've been doing so much work. A lot of the people that are in this meeting or in this class, this time period has really shown me the need to produce content where I have a partner and I can express the movements on that partner, and maybe that partner even has some relative similar level of martial arts experience, right? That's kind of the ideal. But I've also seen the need to produce content where, what if you don't have anybody available to you? Or what if the only person you have available to you is somebody who is, for whatever reason, can't help you? And that's where I've really been trying to focus on the idea of the comprehensive Kembongan. All right, so Kembongan is not a term that I've originated. It is, as it's been taught to me, both a verb and a noun. So for example, earlier I was explaining technique 1. Normally we would learn it on another person, right? That's the beset in front of the body, beset dalam. Normally we would learn that on another person. I don't have anybody in my household that's available to me this evening. Then normally, and I should keep using that word because I'm also talking about when we can physically safely get together and train. The last requirement in the level is classical foundations, is to Kembongan all of your basic stand-up offense. So you end up doing that in the air as a requirement, both so you can study it when you don't have the benefit of a partner, and to kind of reverse engineer that reverence for the traditional approach. Okay, so Let me just grab a little water here. Once again, there are, I know this is I'm going to lead to the inevitable cliche. There are hours and hours and hours and hours of Silat classes that I've taught over the last 15 weeks. They've all been recorded. They're all on my YouTube channel. You know, please give me some love by watching and liking, most importantly, subscribing. But there I've done my due diligence as a channel promoter. Most importantly, there are other classes where I've had a partner. Okay, tonight I don't. You can always go back and watch those, and those will be there. Those aren't going anywhere. Tonight I'm going to kind of just express the basic offense in the air, and I'm going to try to kind of lead you to a place with our last 10 minutes where you can kind of start to mentally assemble everything that we did. Okay, so our first basic offense, we start in a left lead because I'm thinking about Joe Generic, and mostly Joe Generic is gonna fight out. It's gonna be right-handed. They're gonna put their dominant side in the rear, so the orthodox lead is a left lead. And we're learning, I know it's a little bit out of the frame, we're learning how to counter Joe Generic's jab with some of our seminal Silat basics, all right, at level 1. And so the first technique, if everybody's in their left lead, usually I'm going to standardize it. So sorry, everybody, just kind of change that. There, that's a little bit better. Standardize it with a split entry. So my right hand's going to put a lid on it on the outside. My left hand is going to soon gob the eyes or the throat. My left hand is going to wrap around and grab the wrist. My right hand is going to go right along the tricep as I take this straight arm bar and I step in front of the person with my right foot. There's my actual beset or silhig. That's technique 1, that leg sweep in front of the body. I'm going to go get the other foot. I know I'm going to lose that beat, so I knee the person in the face in route, and then I sweep that out. So a little bit further from the camera so you can hopefully see everything. You need to go in your room. Please, sorry, everybody. Go in your room. I got another hour and 10 minutes. Thank you. Sorry, everybody. It's a working household. All right. Thanks, buddy. Okay, so everybody, we're gonna split this. We're gonna wrap this around left hand and grab the wrist. I like to just use my right forearm right on their tricep and use straight arm bar as you step in front of them with your right foot. Here's your silhig or your beset, maintaining the straight arm bar. Knee them in the face as you go and get their other foot, and then sweep that out and complete the throw. All right, and you'll if you go back and look at my YouTube channel, you can find tons of classes where I had a partner, and that's always going to be technique 1, beset dollar, okay, or silhig, or leg sweep in front of the body. Technique 2, again, against Joe Generic in an orthodox lead firing their jab. I like to diagonal gunting into, let me just mess with this a little bit. So this is my left hand parrying and my right hand parrying and my left hand laying under their armpit, anchoring under their armpit as I step in with my left foot. And I would be mostly shin to shin. I know my foot is slightly out of the frame. This, with my left foot, would be my inside foot sweep. And then I would collapse the person with my right foot on the back of the knee. Okay, so my hands are going to disappear from the frame. I've done my diagonal gunting, parry with the right, anchor with the left. As I do that, I step in just slightly. I have to anchor. Here's my inside foot sweep, and I'm going to collapse them. Now, if I really want to hurt this person, I collapse them and I keep my foot on the back of their knee and grind their knee into the ground. but most of the time for training, sapudalam, and then just collapse them. All right, so that's technique 2. Technique 3 is, so that's inside foot sweep. Technique 3 is going to be sapu luar, outside foot sweep. I used to have 5 different ways to get into this with your hands, and then I would just let you choose which one you wanted. That was too much. Now I just standardize it with this. Split entry, swing this out, right elbow, right anchor on their right shoulder, right knee, shoulder control or lateral control, downward diagonal pressure with your hand, rising diagonal pressure with your foot. And I'll break that down. I know that wasn't completely satisfactory because you couldn't see everything working together. Okay, split. So right hand parries, left hand attacks. Left hand just kind of scoops that out. Right elbow, it goes through right anchor on their right shoulder. Knee, push down their shoulder line. Your right foot ends up outside of their left foot. Your right hand is on their right shoulder. Downward diagonal pressure with your hand, rising diagonal pressure with your foot. Okay, so we've been experimenting a lot with the technology. Remember, split, armbar, step in, leg sweep. That was technique 1. You know, what you would be seeing is you would split this jab, force me down with your armbar, sweep this leg back, knee me in the face, and then you would have hooked this foot and you'd be sweeping that foot out. That's technique 1, what you'd be seeing with me. Okay? Technique 2, remember technique 2 was this inside foot sweep and then collapsing them. With technique 2, this would be my jab. You would enter and you'd be anchoring under this armpit, pushing me. You would sweep this out and then put your foot on the back of that knee, your right foot, and collapse me. That's what you would be seeing, okay? With technique 3, remember technique 3 was split, open, elbow, anchor, knee, step on the shoulder line control, downward diagonal pressure with your hand, rising diagonal pressure with your foot. What you'd be seeing there is here's my jab. You'd split that. You'd sweep this away. You'd elbow me and anchor here. You knee me in the stomach and then push down this line. Your right foot ends up outside of this foot and your right hand is here. So you're pushing me down as you're lifting that foot up. So what you're looking for is this compromised balance position. And a few years into my practice, I took to calling that shoulder line control because I put my hand right on your shoulder and I push after I knee you down that line. And I didn't hear Guru and Asanto call it anything. And then maybe 10 years in, I heard him use the term lateral control. And this was when I was taking Silat with him all the time. And by that point, I'm like, yeah, I'm not calling it that. I'm not saying my term is better. The people in my organization just knew what that meant. And I'm not switching to lateral control. So if you imagine your right hand here, when you knee me, boom, you knee me, and your foot after this knee has to return back to the ground. So you use that, boom, you know, anchor. I know my anchor is out of the frame with my right hand on the right shoulder. Knee, push, right, on the high line. So I split, I open them up, I elbow through, and I anchor. Knee, push. And what you're looking to generate is this response. And I'm a little close with that. And your right foot is outside of this left leg, and your right hand is on my shoulder. So you're pushing me downward diagonally this way when you lift that foot off the ground. Boom. That's a really hard fall, okay? Now, because I'm out of time, I'm going to be out of time. This is just something for everybody to chew on, okay? And I'm going to do this with you. For about 30 seconds, try to mix together in a kembangin as many things as we did today as possible. Ready, go. Good. Okay, time. So to wrap this up and stay mostly on time, I still have my model of a black EKIT, or the final level examination, which is the last level, the Silat equivalent of a black belt. Excuse me. If people find themselves in a position where they have a partner and their partner has an appropriate level of martial arts knowledge, and they could do or complete the exam the way that I was thinking it would look when I wrote it, with a partner who has maybe a somewhat similar level of Silat knowledge as you, that would be awesome. But what I've really developed is, imagine doing what we just did for the entire system. And it's something that you've maybe choreographed is too strong a word, but it's something that you've planned. And it might be 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, I don't know. And I'm, again, honesty and transparency. I need to make my own. I haven't done that yet. I just kind of came up with this concept during this weird time period of my, I mean, weird but wonderful, because a lot of people I wouldn't be training with if it weren't for this opportunity. But during this time period where, I mean, very clearly, everybody, I'm in my living room, right? Like, I got my dirty couch on this side. I got my daughter's elementary school graduation decorations on this side. We're not in a martial arts academy. Like, I'm not going to lie to you, okay? But what I keep saying is, I don't want to end up in a figurative pit of non-training, because I keep, oh man, you know, I don't want to do any martial arts until we can get together face to face. Well, I'm dying to get together face to face with people, but if the alternative is I'm not going to do martial arts, you're out of your mind. I'm going to go crazy. So I'd rather leverage the technology. And if anybody wants to call me a sellout, or, oh, you're chipping away at Silat, or anything, I could care less, because we have the technology. And I mean, I've had many people that are on here have been training with me for months now. And if the alternative is not training, forget it. I'd rather do this and develop people that way. Okay, so anyways, I'm a little over time. Thanks very much, everybody. Let's bow the Silat out. And then we'll take like a 1-minute break. I know I'm a little bit over time. So Chinese, Filipino, Thai, Indonesian, French and Dog Brothers, Japanese. Okay, and once again, for the benefit of anybody watching, I have to do this as a professional martial arts instructor. If you're interested in formalizing your training relationship with me, please go to Stoops, OMALC, like onlinemartialartslearningcommunity.com. That URL is always posted in the video description on YouTube. And also, everybody, we're having a special kickboxing session this Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and then Sunday, 11 to 1 p.m. I have a plan for what I'd like to accomplish, but I'd also like to answer any questions or take requests during that 2-hour session on Sunday. So please join us at that time. You're very welcome, DH. Thanks very much. Okay.